The line with us is one of my senators, and also, even if he wasn't one of my senators, one of the finest men in the United States Senate, Senator Jeff Merkley, the representative from Oregon. Merkley.senate.gov is the website. You can tweet him at Sen Jeff Merkley, as in Senator. Senator, welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much, Tom. Good to be with you.
It is always great having you. Okay, the headline up at Huffington Post: the Trump administration is holding thousands of migrant kids in mass shelters. The federal government has placed most of the 14,300 migrant toddlers, children, and teens in its care in detention centers and residential facilities packed with hundreds or thousands of children. A, tell us what you learned when you went down to the southern border, and B, how is this happening in the United States of America?
I'll tell you, the numbers are going up almost every single day. Back in June, it was 9,000 children. Now it's we're told it's hitting 15,000. So every few days, the number's up. This is a series of child prisons here in the United States of America that anyone would be appalled to find out about. So I'm glad people are hearing about it. We went down, I took a congressional delegation down to Tornillo, this child prison that was set up in June, supposed to be for 1 month for a couple hundred kids. It's now still there and expanded to 2,700 children, and they've just increased the capacity to take another 1,100 children, in other words, up to 3,800. This is inflicting trauma on these kids, being locked up, never knowing when they're going to get out. Many of them, more than 2,000 of them, have been in over 20 days, which is supposed to be the maximum under the Flores Settlement Agreement that was to protect children from additional harm from incarceration, and it's not being followed there.
I understand also that, this is from NBC reporting some weeks ago, that the reason that they set this up in the desert there as a, quote, temporary facility was to get around Texas state laws, which echo the state laws of pretty much every other state, that children in detention actually have certain rights, and including, the right to access to a social worker, the right to education, things like that, and also that the people running the facility would have to screen the employees to make sure that they are not, violently or sexually abusive toward children, and none of that is happening down there. Do I have that right?
Well, pretty much. By being on federal land, they bypass the state laws, and by calling it a temporary facility, they believe they can bypass, and are certainly doing so in practice, the Flores consent agreement. They told us at least that they are using standard commercial review for the background checks on the employees, but that they are not doing the FBI background check, which takes much longer.
Yeah. This is absolutely breathtaking. That our country is imprisoning these little children, and Jeff Sessions, he's no longer our Attorney General, but it echoes on, and Stephen Miller and the Chief of Staff John Kelly, all at various times have said that we are intentionally inflicting, I'm paraphrasing obviously, we are intentionally inflicting this pain on these children to cause parents of other children who are south of the border not to want to come here so that their children will not be exposed to this kind of pain. Do I have that right?
You have that absolutely right, and that's why this is coming from such a evil and dark place in the heart of this administration, deliberately inflicting trauma on children, deliberately hurting children to send a political message, not justifiable under any religious tradition, any moral code. And get this, of those kids who are there, we were told that 1,300 of the 2,700 already have sponsors, and the sponsors have gone through the complete bureaucratic measures, including fingerprints, in order to have the kids come to them. But because the Trump administration hasn't completed the paperwork, they just have been trapped there in that child prison.
Yeah, I think I'm sorry.
The director said that within that if the administration would complete the paperwork within 5 to 7 days, he could have 1,300 children with homes and schools and parks, rather than locked up behind barbed wire.
Yeah, I think the phrase I saw in the Washington Post was that they're slow walking it.
Yes, and so now, today, or actually not today, they announced it yesterday, So we held a press conference. Let me back up. We held a press conference. We demanded Tornillo be closed on Saturday just outside the gates with the barbed wire in the background. We demanded an end to this slow walking of the background checks and paper processing for sponsors, get those kids into homes. And yesterday the administration did respond and said they are changing their policy, that they think several thousand kids will be released here in the next couple days, and that they are considering shutting down Tornillo. And so let's keep pressing, because it isn't just Tornillo. There's also Homestead Child Prison in Florida, and then the additional thousands of children at smaller facilities all around the U.S., total of 15,000 now.
So what can the people watching or listening to this program right now do? I mean, is it time to call 202-225-3121, the congressional switchboard, and ask for their senators or their representatives and say something that you might advise us to say, or is there something else that we can do to push back on this administration's brutal policies?
I think one of the most important things is to circulate this information among your social media connections, your friends and family, that there are 15,000 children in child prisons, and that's no way for America to treat children as they wait asylum hearings, just for people to know. Second of all, when Congress comes back in, because we're basically out now until the 3rd of January, do contact and push. I have a no internments camp in America bill. I have another bill that I'll reintroduce that says Congress can get into these facilities within 24 hours. One thing, because you have to be able to see them as they are, not as a Potemkin village after they've been spruced up for 2 weeks. And another thing is we need to be able to actually talk to the children to see what they're going through. We were not able. 5 members of Congress were there, 3 senators, 2 House members. We could not talk to the children to find out anything about the downsides of what they were experiencing. We were getting the, everything's nice and wonderful here version of life. And the other thing is that this is when we were at the Dilley family internment camp, there was a mother and a child who had been locked up there for almost 6 months, who fled gang persecution in Honduras. The daughter was attacked. They fled the next day. And the daughter's birthday was this Tuesday, yesterday, turning 15, quinceañera, a very important day in the life of a young Latin American woman. And if you want to send her a birthday card, anyone out there in your listening audience, if you send it to the Dilley Pro Bono Project, you can find that on the web, they will get that card to her and let her know that she is not forgotten.
How is Dilley spelled?
Dilley.
E-Y. Okay, thank you. Boy, Senator Jeff Merkley, you are doing some really, really great work. But last question before you go. When the Democrats take control of the House of Representatives, you said that you couldn't talk to these kids. I also read in one of the stories that you wanted to talk, or maybe it wasn't you, maybe it was another member of your delegation, wanted to talk to the Border Patrol or whichever, or ICE or whoever, I think it was the Border Patrol officers who had taken custody of this little 7-year-old girl who died from dehydration last week. And the Trump administration refused you access to them. When the Democrats can take control of the House of Representatives, and I realize you're in the Senate, but will they be able to subpoena these people and force them to come and testify before Congress in an open session?
I believe that they will be able to. I don't know the exact rules of the House on which committees have that power, but certainly I hope the House passes a bill that gives us access and oversight. And we do have the power, if the administration doesn't respond, to cut off money to the administration until such access is granted. And so that's another way we can go about it.
Powerful stuff. Senator Jeff Merkley. Senator, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Tom.
It's great talking with you. It's always great talking with you. One of the really good guys, Senator Jeff Merkley. You can tweet him at Sen, as in Senator, S-E-N, Jeff Merkley. And, of course, his website, merkley.senate.gov.